Hoboken Mayor Ravi Bhalla joining us live this morning to talk about the curfew and some additional details. Good morning, Mr. Mayor. Thanks for making the time this morning.
Morning. Thanks for having me.
So let's get to it. Nearly 36 cases of COVID-19 detected in a week in Hoboken alone, only a mile-long city. So does Hoboken have clusters? Are these cases spread out across that mile? What are you seeing?
We're seeing an increase or an uptick in cases that through our contact tracing methodology are directly linked to bars, the bar scene in Hoboken, both at the local level through contact tracing with the health department here in Hoboken, as well as through the state of New Jersey through their contact tracing. They're telling us that we're seeing an uptick in cases directly linked both to house parties as well as to bars and restaurants. That's why, the 12 o'clock closure is really essential to strike that right balance between saying we're going to support our local businesses, but after 12 o'clock, things get more rowdy, social distancing becomes less, and we need to prioritize public health above all else.
And Mayor, is the main utility for this curfew to kind of guard against Halloween and the revelry that it brings, or is it really to kind of get ahead of the winter months, the oncoming flu season, and to have this really go out for maybe 3, 4, even 5 months to come?
I would say more of the latter. We're looking, not just to this weekend, but we're looking to the future weeks and months ahead. This curfew is in place now. We check the numbers and the data, and we're guided by the facts. And then right now, that information leads us to the necessity to take measures to rein in the violations that we've seen.
So take me through this, right? It's midnight, bars and restaurants close down. What happens then? Who is out enforcing to make sure that people are going home, that the bars and restaurants are actually closing?
Well, the bars themselves have been very compliant when we have shut down, so they self-regulate and self-enforce. But more importantly, what this does is it allows our police department to really redirect their resources to the house parties that are taking place as well. We have improvements to limit house parties that are 25 or more that are disorderly. And when you have the bars shutting down,
right, but how do you enforce it?
You enforce it the way you would enforce anything else through the issuance of a summons and the closure of a bar or restaurant.
Understood. Let me ask you this, because Jersey City next door isn't taking a similar approach. Are you at all worried that people might go to Jersey City and then come on back?
No, not at all. The bars will be shut in Hoboken at 12 o'clock midnight, same as in Patterson. Newark, I believe they're going even earlier. Every municipality, every mayor has to do what they think is right for their city. And that's all what we're doing. We're doing what we feel is right for the residents of the city of Hoboken. My job as mayor is to keep our residents safe. That's exactly what we're trying to do.
Mayor, is there any leeway here with possibly tightening these restrictions? Right now, it's at midnight, again, as we kind of course into the winter months. Do you see yourself bringing that forward, maybe 10 p.m., 11 p.m., or do you think midnight is going to be where it stays?
I'll be honest with you. There was recommendations internally to have a 10 o'clock closure. But we want to make sure that the parklets and streeteries that people enjoy in the restaurant scene stay open. People can have dinner into the later hours of the night, and that we support our local businesses as much as possible and really kind of try to strike that right balance between public health and supporting small businesses.
I guess
that's
when you
why
look
right now.
Yeah, of course, everybody wants to support small business. I think when you look at it, though, you're like, well, who's going to dinner at midnight? It might be one of those things where, like, the large chunk of people are going to go out earlier. But let me ask you, how long do you anticipate it? Is there a length of time or an end date on when you're going to say, okay, we won't have a curfew?
If we see the numbers decrease, we will act accordingly. If we see the numbers increase, we'll reconsider more stringent measures. But to your other point, people do go out, especially on the weekends, and they are out dining up until 11 o'clock or so. So we want to give people the breathing room to do that, but have a strict midnight curfew this time.
Understood. Mr. Ravi Bhalla, thank you for making the time this morning. I really do appreciate you coming on to talk about this.
Thanks for having me.